Hey, heathens. And hi, Jezuzfreek. Jezuzfreek did a recent video about an article that he found. I'll let him tell you about it.
Federal court rules, under God, in pledge, constitutional. A federal appeals court in San Francisco has ruled that the use of the words, under God, in the Pledge of Allegiance, and in God we trust on U.S. coins do not violate the separation of church and state. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals panel rejected two legal challenges by Sacramento atheist Michael Newdow, who claimed the references to God disrespect his religious beliefs.
So there's two things I want to point out about this particular article. The first one is what you said here.
The pledge is constitutional, Judge Carlos Bay wrote for the majority of the 2-to-1 ruling.
Okay, a 2-to-1 ruling. That's pretty close. But I will say this, hey, at least you guys finally won one, right? Atheists been kicking your butt in court over and over again on all the other stuff. This one you finally won. The second thing that I want to point out is what was said here.
The Pledge of Allegiance serves to unite our vast nation through the proud recitation of some of the ideals upon which our republic was founded.
Don't you find it a little bit ironic that you honed in on this idea of that it uniting the nation when it says something that there is a large part of the nation that does not support the, depending on what number you want to go with, 10 to 15%, even 24% if you go with the recent ARIS, that says that 24% don't affiliate with a religion, and if this large section of the United States lump in the other religions that don't support your particular God, all these people disagree with you, yet you honed in that it unites people. Just wanted to point that out, but let's continue.
And a lot of people like to point out how we aren't a Christian nation. I still believe that Christianity is the majority in this nation, so I do believe we are a Christian nation, but I use that term very loosely.
Granted, you said you use the term loosely, but doesn't that also make us a white nation? We are just as much of a Christian nation as we are a white nation. And I don't think that you think that way. We are not a Christian nation by any regards. You go on to talk about the founding fathers and all that, but I have a video about is this a Christian nation? They can all check it out. It's right there. And I won't go through all the details here, but simply to point out that John Adams wrote in the Treaty of Tripoli that we are by no means a Christian nation in that paper, and it cannot get any clearer than that. So, but even if it were true, it wouldn't matter. So let's continue.
It is very clear to me that our founding fathers did have Christianity in mind. They wanted us to have a relationship with God in one form or another.
Ignoring the fact that many of the founding fathers were deists and their idea of God was a more impersonal God, but you jump to they wanted us to have a relationship with Jesus. A little intellectually dishonest, but I don't think that's you doing it intentionally. I don't want you to think I'm trying to twist anything there. There were many Americans who were Christian, and no question about that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But let's not pretend like everybody was pushing Christianity on people. That was the furthest from the truth. They've already been through a government pushing their religion on people. This was the exact opposite. So again, I think you're very you're whitewashing history with what you want it to be. But hey, Texas did it, so why not you? Go ahead.
Religion was a very integral part of building this nation. Of course, it was a integral part of building a nation free of religious oppression. But still, they wanted to include the very embodiment of Christianity within this great nation as we're building it.
See, you said it again. No, they weren't. They were not trying to embed Christianity. They wanted to embed religious freedom. That's it. Just religious freedom. Whether you believe or don't believe, they just wanted to embed religious freedom. It wasn't about Christianity. They never endorsed Christianity. And again, Treaty of Tripoli makes it as clear as it could possibly be.
But they wanted us to be free to do so, and free to choose to not do so also.
Fully agreed there.
Including the terms "in God we trust" and "one nation under God," I believe is a celebration of that history, the building process. I agree 100% with the judges that made this ruling.
Do you agree with the almost 200 years that went by without it? Just curious, being that the Founding Fathers did what they did and it all went down the way that it did, and the pledge was written as it was and everything else happened, and it wasn't until the 50s that it changed. Do you agree with it not being there to begin with? I find it ironic that most of the time when you talk to people about this subject, they bring up the idea of tradition. This has nothing to do with tradition. The tradition was to leave it out. But now that it's in, we can't get rid of it. It's tradition.
So, atheists out there, this is a big blow to your cause.
No, not really.
We have judges that are citing that the Pledge of Allegiance is constitutional.
Doesn't really change anything.
"In God we trust" is indeed constitutional. So, chalk it up for a victory for Christianity. I'm thankful for that. Atheists, I encourage you, I invite you to join this discussion. Explain to me why you think separation of church and state means the absolute eradication of Christian messages or the absolute eradication of the presence of Christianity within any of our public facets is the appropriate thing to do.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Jezuzfreek! Who said anything about the eradication of Christian messages? You can have your churches, you can have your billboards, you can have your television ads, you can do all the stuff you want to. You can stand out on the street corners, you can put up your little tables at the grocery stores and outside of the department stores where you pass out whatever. Do that. It's not about the eradication of your message. It's just that the government should not endorse one religion over another or any to begin with. I think you kind of got the idea twisted a little bit. Have your whatever. Just leave everybody else out of it who doesn't want to be part of it. Isn't that fair? Isn't that what the Founding Fathers wanted to begin with?
I look forward to seeing your responses and hearing it. This is in no way to poke fun at atheists or anything as such. I'm just pleased that a ruling came out that I agree with.
And here's the part that may shock you, Jezuzfreek. I'm happy too. No, wait, get away from the unsubscribe button. You guys settle down. Hear me out. I'm happy that it failed too. Let me explain to you why. The problem with the atheist movement, as you called it, is that we are too successful. When evolution was challenged by the evangelicals, it was defeated at the county level, meaning it never went to the Supreme Court. It never went to a state court, which means that every single county can then come around with its own trial. Just like San Francisco had their trial, and yes, I grant that it is typically a little bit more on the liberal side, as you called it, and so you would think that they would side more with us. I'm glad to see that they did not go this route, because now it allows it to be appealed to the state level, which is something that's been needing to be done for a long time. You went 2-1. Really? 2-1? You're happy about 2-1? That's a 1 vote difference between winning and losing. I'm not really swayed by that. Let's take it to the state level. And you know what? I hope they lose. I hope they lose the state level, because I want it to go to the Supreme Court. Because I hate to break this to you, but when you read the Constitution, it is unconstitutional. The government should not endorse religion in any way, shape, or form. Now, does it make any laws pertaining to it? No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, I personally, if it never passes and they never get rid of "In God We Trust" and they never get rid of "Under God" out of the pledge, I really couldn't give a flying crap. Just to be honest with you, when I say the pledge, I don't say it. I don't. On my dollar bills, I mark out "In God We Trust" and replace it with "Logic We Trust." You could insert any line you want. add in a line from Barbara Rand by the Beach Boys into the pledge if you like. I don't care. It doesn't change my life because it's not about making a law. So it could be that this never changes. It could be that they never declare it unconstitutional because it was not a law endorsing a religion. And that's fine, whatever. But I like that it's getting attention. And the reason I like it getting attention is because it brings the subject up front. And it makes people have to go, well, And that's all I ask for. Don't take my word for it. Think for yourselves.